All right, let's see if this is the issue now. I think I'm live again. Oh, there we go. Oh, man, you guys are going to love this. You guys are going to love this. So I was sitting here stressing out. Like, nobody was showing up in the chat, and I was like, man, what's going on? What's going on? I'm sitting here looking at OBS. Everything's working fine. Dude, I didn't hit the go live button in the YouTube studio. So I've been sitting here, like, noodling, just wondering what was going on for the past 20 minutes. Those are cool sounds, right? I've been kind of enjoying the way that sounds, those stacked sounds like that, where it's like the intervals can be different, right? If you're playing a like over G minor, so it's like 7, 1, and then 11, and then minor third or third, yeah, right, or yeah, fifth. So one more time, my brain doesn't work. 7, 1, 11, 5, 1. So that's cool. And then you can do it again out of your minor pentatonic box, and the interval shifts. So it ends up being like minor third, 11, 7, 1, and then 11 again. Oh, cool. The tone's really good. Yeah, this is the Bella into the aux. I really, really like it. And I'm just using a BB preamp right now. That's it. If we kick up the intensity and put on the Wampler prototype, it sounds really good too. I always used to love those Steve Vai slides that he would do. And then back into that thing we were just talking about. Really digging that. So the point of today was to knock back some Q&A. Specifically from my Patreon account. So much love and crispy high fives to all of my Patreon members. You guys rule. So I'm going to kick open the Patreon and look at some messages and some comments here that people have wanted, right? So the first one that I had was this is from a different source. This is, I think, a YouTube comment, but I kind of cherry picked some good ones. Hey Andy, I have a question. I hope you can answer. I find it hard to catch the live streams because I'm in Scotland. There's a fair time difference between us. Is there such a thing as a country scale, like the blues scale, that I could use in my home when I'm playing? I sometimes use a few of my pentatonic blues licks, then I try the major scale, but I'd like a more pronounced country twang on my licks. I've caught a few of your videos so far, but I have to study while watching them to brush up on my theory. Thanks for the educational content. Gary. All right, Gary. So there's not like a country scale, but I'm going to give you the intervals that make sense to me when I'm looking at country. And when I'm thinking about a generic country scale, it would be not even a scale really, but like it's always kind of based around a dominant seventh chord. Like get some slap back. Right, so I've got 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. Right, that's my country kind of chord. Right, so that's like it's kind of like weird to do country on a shred guitar, but you know. So when I'm thinking about the country scale, I think of these intervals. I think of 1. I think of 2. Minor third to major third. This is a big one. Because you have these intervals. Just remember this, Gary. 4, minor third, major third, root. Right? And then you can have flat 5 like in a blues scale. And then 6, right? That gets you the kind of Western swingism. Right? And then 7 again, and then root. So if I leave out the minor third and I only play a major third, it ends up being like this. I think minor third to major third is really clutch for that country sound. You get this thing, right? Yeah, so that's your answer. Again, just think of minor third, major third, 4, flat 5, 5, right? And learn that everywhere, you know. A really cool one that I Skyped earlier this week with my buddy Will Barton. He showed me a cool one. So in the key of G, like subbing out. Isn't that a cool altered line? Oh, sorry, one more time. Sorry, I messed up the last part. Yeah, that's a cool line. Right. That's kind of a cool outside line, right? And it's out of this Will Bagby solo. I think the lick he showed me was, yeah, that's it, something like that, right? All right, so I got a little off topic and just started noodling. That's what happens. That's why we're here. The next question, right? Cool. Is let's see if you. Oh yeah. So Andy, it would be great if I did a video about dialing in different sounds of gain, right? From shred to blues to fusion. How I look at gain and gain stacking. Okay, so we'll start. This is obviously my clean tone. This is completely just some room verb from Logic. My board doesn't have reverb on it, and I just figured it would be cooler if you guys had a little bit of reverb on your end. So yeah, then a compressor, right? Compressor's on. The first thing I think about is not overgaining, not overstacking the gain. I actually have 3 different levels of overdrive here. The least amount is like a Klon style overdrive. So that's really cool for if if you're playing in a kind of a ballad scenario and you just need a little bump, right? So that's just like I said, it's if you really hit it hard, there'll be a little bit of breakup. You know, that kind of thing, you know. And then here it is without it. You see how it kind of like thickens it up, fattens it up in the mids or whatever. That's without it. It's really cool almost for that Mayer kind of thing. Okay, the next overdrive I have is BB Preamp. This is without it. This is with it. I think this is a really great sounding overdrive. It's really great for like some of the faux Bonamassa isms, you know. One more time. And as you roll the gain up, I can put the clon on it, the clon copy. It's not really a clon, but like it's. So now you're hearing the compressor, the Wampler prototype. This one side of it's clonish, and the BB preamp together. Oh, sorry. One more time. That'd be a good one that's like very Joe-esque. All right, and then lastly, I would look at the highest gain that I would have, which would be the left side of this prototype overdrive. That's kind of like the rock. Add the compressor. I need to warm up a little bit before I try this. Let's try that again. So those are kind of cool. I've been kind of messing around with like that expanded pentatonic. Those are kind of cool. So now when I stack this taking the compressor off, and it's important not to overgain, like whatever your biggest source of distortion or gain or whatever is. This is not to the point where I can't roll the volume down on the guitar and get a nice clean tone. If you can't really roll the volume down on the guitar and get a nice clean tone, you're probably using too much distortion. It probably feels really good under your fingers. This is something I talk about a lot. Is like dialing in the tone that feels good and that's easy to play. Usually 9 times out of 10, it doesn't really sound great in a mix, you know. So using a little less gain. The most gain I would ever have, and like I said, this is my highest gain channel, if you want to call it that, on the Prototype overdrive. And then when I roll it all the way up. Now when I step on the Klon inspired circuit, that's where like the thickness of the mids comes in. That's like the most like shred-tastic tone or whatever. You know what I mean? These pickups aren't crazy hot, but these are on the hotter side. These are the SSH Plus SSV. So yeah, with that said, let me swing up here and take a look at my Patreon questions real quick. How's everybody doing? Is everybody doing good today? Everybody having a lovely afternoon. While I'm looking this up, I want to tell you guys about something cool. You're like, Andy, stop typing and tell us whatever you think is cool. Right? So you guys may see back in the background the little Rev amps. These are those little 20-watt guys. This is a cool company, man. Derek and those guys are really cool, and they're just good, nice guys. I mean, I'm not a like flagship Rev artist. I mean, I play the Sirs most of the time, but these little amps are cool. They're 20 watts and they can drop down to 4 watts. So that's my relationship with Rev. I have those amps. They're cool. The coolest thing that Rev's doing right now is this community-wide event, and it's called Make Music at Home. Okay, so with this Make Music at Home thing, I'm gonna swing this back, get my water so I can hang out with you guys here for a minute. I feel like I've just been shredding too much. So this Make Music at Home thing is not a competition, right? But it's a chance for you guys to win a free amp. You can win one of those free 20-watt amps, okay? The deal is you just go to my YouTube video that says Make Music at Home. You could go to revamplification.com, any of that stuff. And you upload a video of you playing. Now, you don't have to play licks. You can play songs. You can play a riff. It doesn't have to be like top tier level audio. It doesn't have to be a complete project. You can just turn on your iPhone camera and vibe a little bit and upload it. What that does is that allows you to that enters you in the raffle, okay? And with that and you just put the hashtag Make Music at Home. With that raffle, you're eligible to win one of the amps. They're just doing this because we're all on lockdown on this COVID thing, and we're all stuck in our houses. And they just wanted to have a guitar community event. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys are like me, you see these events a lot of times, and they're really alienating, whether that mean they're competition-based or maybe they're, company specific and like you can't, be another guy for another company. You can't get involved. Like Rev just said, screw all that. We're just going to do this thing that just, if you're in the guitar community, it doesn't matter in what aspect. Upload a video of you playing. We just want people to come together during these times and feel like they're not completely isolated. And it's interesting, right? We get online and we tend to divide out into our little subgenres of guitar players. We're like, okay, we're the metal shred guys. Okay, we're the jazz bows. Okay, we're the country guys. And it's weird for me because I don't really have a home. I'm musically homeless because I like so many different genres, right? And this is a way to pull everybody from every genre, together. I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but all I was saying was like, it doesn't matter what subgenre you're in of guitar playing, you're still a guitar player. And upload a video of yourself playing the Rev amp, not the Rev amp. Sorry, upload a video of you playing whatever you want into your iPhone. Upload a song or whatever. And then just upload that to the Rev website. That's what I meant to say. And then you're eligible for the raffle. So cheers, make music at home. Should be really cool. Now let's dive into some Patreon questions. Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm going to my notifications here. I'm going to take a look at all my Patreon members and what they're asking. Okay, here we go. This is a good one. Once mentioned how. What's my favorite way to? Okay, yeah, this is really cool. He says, this is from Jay. Jay says, I once mentioned how my grandpa told me to quote unquote get them notes clean. That was from the Troy Grady Cracking the Code thing. What's my favorite way to synchronize my ears, right and left hands together? Also, as a kid, what were my favorite records to put on and jam along with? It's really, really great stuff. Yeah, so hand synchronization. That's a big one, right? Let's talk about that. Jay wanted to know about hand synchronization and syncing that with the ears. Okay, a lot of times I'll see guys that are like, yo, I want to play faster, and they're asking questions about that. And I realize they'll play for me. Their hand goes really, really fast on the left, and the right hand's just blazing away on the right. But it ends up being super disconnected, and it ends up having this kind of sound. Right? So it sounds like stuff's happening, and it sounds like, yeah, there's some pick attack going on, and it sounds like there's some harmony in there, but it sounds like the fingers and the pick aren't hitting at the same time. You guys ever feel like that? You ever feel like the fingers and your pick are just kind of not syncing up? That's really where most of it comes from. Most of it, by that I mean the it is the magic, the perceived idea of speed. It actually comes from just being syncing together your hands, right? And so Jay, my thoughts here to you. Jay is like I said, those wonder where we're getting the questions from Patreon. Jay's Patreon member. He says, how do I work on that? Man, I never really worked on that as an isolated topic, right? I never told myself, hey, work on hand synchronization. I found those terms out later in life. But in my mind, anything that I would be working on, whether that be, Cliffs of Dover, bluegrass, or country or whatever, I would work on the idea of not pressing my finger in until my pick is ready to hit it, right? I'm not doing this thing where I put my finger down and then pick later, right? So let's just take a simple G major idea. I'm not playing any one of those notes. We can go to a clean channel too if you like. No delay. That's if I mute it all out, right? But in general, I'm not pressing the strings in until the exact time that I'm going to pick the note, right? And this is something that doesn't relate to a specific exercise, right? I don't know how to put it into words to do it in exercise. Play your music, play your guitar, practice your guitar, right? Spend time with your guitar. I mean, that's really the thing. But when you're spending time with your guitar and you catch yourself, kind of like phoning it in, like just take a second, look at, refocus your idea, think about what those exact rhythms and those notes are going to be in what order. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that you're playing it together and in sync. I grew up playing this stuff on like fiddle tunes. Or like Billy in the Low Ground. Like, it doesn't matter necessarily what the song is. May I recommend fiddle tunes? You know, just Billy in the Low Ground, Red Haired Boy, Angelina Baker, Jerusalem Ridge. Like, it doesn't matter. Just get Kenny Baker's fiddle tunes and start playing a bunch of fiddle tunes, and lock yourself into the idea of not pressing in one finger or picking until those things are ready to strike at the exact same moment. Jay also says, what records did I enjoy putting on and jamming to as a kid when I was growing up? They were all bluegrass records. You know, Sam Bush, Glamour and Grits, Mike Snyder's Live on the Boat. First couple of Chris Thile records when he was a kid. I mean, you know, we're pretty close to the same age, and I thought that stuff was really rad. I grew up with a ton of Sam Bush records and Tony Rice Unit and things like that. The first, you know, popular pop music things I was playing along with was 90s country, things like Diamond Rio, Alan Jackson records, Garth Brooks records, Brooks and Dunn, you know, all of that stuff. It wasn't until I was about 18-ish before I really discovered like great rock, you know, and got into rock. And from there, you know, it was every answer that you think I'm about to say. Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Steve Vai. You know, I can't tell you how many Southern rock records I played along with. You know, it's like all the standard stuff that we all love. That's the stuff that I love to play. So let's hit another Patreon question. Yeah, I just saw somebody in the chat say answering Patreon question only, but letting everyone listen. That's a bit of an experiment. I hope this is cool. I tried to do this on Instagram, and it kept cutting off the answers. One of the things you get with one of the tiers of my Patreon is the idea you can ask me a specific question. Well, this format allows you to jump to the front of the line. So let's hit another question here. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. This is from Chris Locke. Chris, hope you're well. He says, Andy, when you're writing an instrumental tune, where do you start? Do I start with a riff, a general idea, or the whole song? Is it different every time? That is a great question. So this is about writing specifically as a writer, you know, not just a guy playing shred licks. Okay, so it is different every time. A lot of different things can inspire me. I'm going to kick back again. This is going to be a nice long answer. Hope you guys are prepared. Sit back, put your tobacco in your pipe, get your bourbon. This is going to be a long one. And he's wanting to know about how I look at writing and what is the initial, you know, tip of the ball down the hill. So for me, it's always different. It can be something like a video game. Like my song Reach was inspired by Halo Reach. There's a moment at the very end. After you beat Halo Reach, you're left on the planet because you got you save humanity by getting them off the planet. And you're left alone just to fend for yourself. And there is no way to win. The point of you is to die, right? You're just left there. So you keep fighting enemies until you die. They just keep randomly spawning ads until you die. I thought that was so like epic and triumphant. You never see that perspective in movies or rarely in movies, but more specifically, you never see it in video games. And it inspired me so much, and it just had like this droning thing going on. And I was like, man, I could have wrote something, you know, that had more vibe to that. And I was just sitting there with my guitar while it was going, and I just was playing like these minor 9 chords, these minor chords with an add 9. Those kind of sounds, you know. And you hear a lot of these in like like things like Dream Theater Periphery, Animals as Leaders. A lot of instrumental guys use these like minor add 9 chords, and this kept going around in my head. And all of a sudden, I just kept going, and I just kept doing that over and over. And then it started getting like good to me. Like I was like, oh, this is like getting really nice. So I started like using I'm gonna wind up my bar here. I started like using the bar at the back of it, you know. And I was like, yo, that's it. Like, whatever that is. I was like, whatever this is, that's the thing. And it never is. It's never. And that ended up being Reach, right? And that's the melody. That's the. Right. So that song came about by not being overthought. I wasn't trying to like impress my fellow guitarists. I just had living my life, and playing video games is something I do a lot, and that just hit me and it inspired me, and that's how that happened. So from there I started fleshing out the tune, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't playing notes and overplaying and taking away from the main vibe of the song is this. And I knew if I played a melody that had a ton of stuff in it, you know, like I knew that I could never get away with it. I knew that I couldn't do a melody like that. That just was the wrong thing for the song. We read and we hear guys, especially older cats, they're always like overplaying, you overplay, and don't overplay. Man, there's truth in that. There's wisdom in that. And I said, okay, here's how I'm not going to overplay. I'm only allowing myself one string, and I've got to write this melody on one string. And that's how Reach happened. And so it was with purpose and intent that I only wrote the melody on one string, right? And I think that tune, at least from the feedback of fans and supporters, that's one that always ends up in my set because people have like associated that so hardly with me and my live show or whatever. It was it's been on several of the Sir videos, and it's been in a lot of different places. So I use that song as a barometer of my success in writing. I use other songs as barometers for what not to do in writing, right? So, so on my first record, there's a lot of songs that I wouldn't play that way now, like 11th Hour or whatever. Like that was something that I was just trying to impress other guitar players when I wrote 11th Hour. I was like, I need to write in an odd time signature. I can write an 11. Okay, cool. I need to not play anything that sounds like pentatonic, so let me play all diminished melody line. Okay, cool. And it just had the wrong point of view, you know? I'm not saying that people don't like that song or that maybe I'll never play it again, but it definitely is not at the top of my priority list because I think I created it from the wrong standpoint. I think I've just now started getting into my lane as far as writing with the Junktown record. I feel like songs like Flooded Mind and Junktown and Forgotten Secrets, they're like my kind of sound, that's like Southern, but also got some fusion elements and some, rock elements, like a lot of rock elements for that matter. But there's still that Southern vibe, with these days I'm looking for hooks in songs, in my own songs and other songs. I'm looking for things that I can remember, big fat memorable hooks. I like that. And I'm also, looking for things that make me groove. I think I'm just getting past like the holy cow, look at all this technical facility thing. Not that I don't like technique. It's awesome. shredding and playing fast is always going to be cool to me. Vicious displays of technical prowess is always going to be cool. But now it's just lower on the totem pole of what I want to say compositionally. So again, to wrap that up, my writing comes from a bunch of different standpoints. Junktown, I'll tell you another cool little story. Junktown existed for like 8 months. Every time we were on tour, on sound check or whatever, I was always playing. And finally, my front of house guy was like, dude, what is that riff you play every freaking day to check the guitar? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, make it something, because I'm tired of just hearing the same riff over and over. So it ended up being like, and that spoke to me, because I was like, something in my subconscious is making me play this riff every day. I'm not intentionally doing that. Like, I'd play Van Halen songs or whatever right after, but when you just at sound check, for those of you that don't play out live a lot, when you're at sound check, they just want something simple and static to check the guitar to. Like, that's the kind of thing your front of house guy wants to hear. He doesn't care about, because you're not going to be playing that all night long, right? So that's where this came from. And I just played it all the time. So finally it turned into... And it ended up being a cool song, and I really love that song. I think that's like the correct definition for like what I think my sound is. Got some banjo in there, B3, and it's got some soaring moments and stuff like that. So, guy says glad the lyrics aren't check 1 2 1 2. All right, cool. Favorite Destiny 2 character? Yeah. Okay, I play on Xbox. I can't wait for Series X to come out. I'm just going to interject. You get to jump to the top of the line because you talk about Destiny. I main a Warlock. In most games, I like any kind of wizard, kind of super powerful, like casting spells and like, that crazy overpowered kind of character. I play all three. I'm a really, really hardcore player, and I've logged in way too many hours. But I have a Titan and I have a Hunter, but I end up maining the Warlock most of the time. I like the Dawnblade class, and I've got him dressed up to look kind of like a space samurai, and I think that's the jam. Yes, I do have a favorite guitar. It is the black prototype and the whiskey. Those two are killer. As far as favorite guitar that I own, it's the Martin that my granddad gave me when I was 16 years old. As far as the one that I play and put the most hours on, it's that one. I just figured you guys might want to see a different guitar today, so I'm playing this Modern Satin. This Modern Satin was the inspiration for why my guitars don't have a bunch of paint on them. I thought the Modern Satins were cool because they weren't trying too hard, and they sound really good. So this finish is actually kind of really similar to the way they do my guitars. All right, let's hit another Patreon question. Okay, yeah, here's another one. There's another question regarding the prototype. So I'm going to do something that I probably am not supposed to do, and I'll tell you guys about this thing. I can't go into a lot of detail. Obviously, the internet has figured out that I'm working with Brian Wampler, and we've been working on several different iterations of what will become a pedal for me. I don't think that's some big secret anymore. With COVID and, manufacturing severely halted, it's put my pedal, and other projects, kind of at a pause for a moment. But with that said, there's been 6 variations that we've done. People are going to try to pause the screen, but that's it right there, I have one in a silver casing in all those True Fire videos and things I've been playing. That's the pedal. There's a picture on my Patreon, and that's what led to this question. I'm just going to leave the delay on because I like my sauce. Today, I like my sauce. And I'm going to walk you through the prototype. Again, one more time. There's 2 sides to it. And things that you can see from photos are all that I'm going to talk about, okay? So, Brian Wampler, if you're watching this, I'm not going to tell anybody anything other than what is in a picture. Obviously, there's 2 sides of it. Your input is on the right side, and the output's on the left side. If you look at the top, there's some input and output jacks, multiple. I'm not going to tell you what they do, but they are there, and I use them. There is also a toggle switch that allows you to go the right side into the left side when you're stacking. Or you can flip it and go to the left side and the right side. I never use the left side and the right side. The toggle switch is just there if you want to. Okay. Here is my clean signal with no compressor or anything. There's just some delay on there. Okay, here's some different pickups. Okay, now on the right side, we're going to go from nothing, and I'm going to turn it on. Turn it off. Turn it on. Turn it off. So you could tell it's kind of a boost. Right? Sounds real good. Now here's the other side. This is the one with the red light on it. I like this thing because as I turn the mid knob, it's labeled mids, but it kind of acts different than mids, than what I consider mids. Let me turn the knob for you. This is with the knob turned way up. Oh, sorry, I play bad. Sorry, I suck. I got to get this fret fixed. It's choking out. That's my fault. Okay, so check it out. Now I'm going to turn the mids down. This is with the mids almost off. And if any of you start chiming in and say, this sounds like Eric Johnson, I'm going to be like, yes, it does sound like Eric Johnson. That is cool. I can play. I can't play today. So like songs like now, okay, that's what, and again, let's sweep the mids back up. This is in between the 2 points. Sorry. So now if I step on the other side, the boost side, and I step onto that, this is adding. Oh baby, that sounds good. would use this for like and I think this thing sounds ridiculous. I don't know if you guys think it sounds super good, but this into a Bella, and I have a 3-channel amp, and if I don't have a Bella, then this is still awesome, you know? So that is the prototype pedal. Thanks to my Patreons for the question. That's all I could say. I hope that that's enough. There'll be more on it coming out. There's a name for it. There's colors. There's another feature that I can't talk about. God, I wish I could because it's so cool. Yeah, there's a guy talking about the fret. It's actually not the fret. The weather has been cold and hot, so it's actually just the neck. The frets are actually great. Thanks, Michael. It's just, you know, the neck has moved, and I haven't adjusted it, so that's my fault. Whatever. Yeah. So let's continue on. Patreon question. Next Patreon. Yeah, it's funny. People are really obsessed with this pedal. Any timeline for the Wampler pedal? No, there's no timeline. I think I just answered that. Which songs do I use the BB9 on? This is great. Let's check this out. Turn on the compressor. Yeah, so I have one of these Electro Harmonix B9 pedals. This is without it. And this is with it. Let me turn off that delay. Turn it up just a little bit. Let's see how this works. Yeah, sounds like baseball and coolness. I use this a lot when I'm with the Kennedy Wood Band. A lot of times we'll do a gig. We just did a gig in Florida before the COVID thing. It was the last festival gig. We were scheduled to play more and had to cancel. But a lot of times we can't carry a keyboard player with us. You know, if it's a fly date and buying a bunch of flights and have to get, you know, crew guys and all this stuff. And so I have this on my board just to cover some of that ground, you know, for like a... Or I'll use it on like an Allman Brothers tune. And it tracks really good. So really the B9 is just on there just for the Kennedy Wood Band stuff. Every now and then if I do a Led Zeppelin cover or something like that, I'll use just a little bit of it for like no quarter. This will be like if you have a lot of the dry signal. Right. Like I would use it like that. And it's really cool. Play lazy. I don't know what that means. Okay, yeah, it does track really well. So I'm going to answer one more Patreon question. Yeah, this is a good one. This is from John Wood. John asked me to talk about playing through Imagine Love. While I talk to you guys, I'm going to tune up here. Imagine Love, if you guys have seen the new episode of the Woodshed, it's all about thirds. Imagine Love is, and this is going to tie into another question that the Patreon member asked, was compositionally, I just was in my mind, I was like, I want to hear in my mind, like, what if a Hendrix-inspired or a Hendrix-style player sat in with the Beatles-style kind of band, you know? And the Beatles kind of chord progressions came first. Right? That's kind of the chord progressions to Imagine Love. And what I heard over top of my head was like, you know, those kind of Hendrixes. And I wanted to hear that kind of guitar playing over kind of a Beatlesy kind of thing. So let's talk about Imagine Love. This was to John, Patreon. Appreciate you. And just a side note, if you guys want to jump over to Andy Wood Music on Patreon, throw some beer money at me, cool. I'll keep making content as long as I'm at home and not on the road. So, yeah. So the top of the tune is built around A, and it starts on those thirds. And I'm just jumping up to the 5, to the 6. And the next chord is G. It's like A over G. Right? And when I say A over G, I literally mean A, like an A chord, A triad, played over a G. So my bass player's playing a G. Right? And sometimes I'll be clever and play a G major 7 over that. Because the major 7 of G gives me the 6 in the A. So it ends up being like an A at 13, A13 over a G. Right? Or a G major 7. Right? And then another big hook. Keep playing the hook over and over. Now to a D chord. You can see I'm playing the 3rd of the D. 3rd of D minor. Yeah. Right? And the second part of the song is like an F with a, you know, with a B in it and an E up top, so like a major 7, you know. And then it goes to A again, right? And then that same F chord kind of goes. The melody's really this, so that basically it's F. But the melody is. Right, so. Then, after that, we play a C chord, this little melody, which is cool. Move it up to a D. Then an A. And then a Hendrix lick. Play the C chord again. Then the D chord. And then an A. Down to an E. Right? And then we're back at the top of the tune. Okay? So in the solo we have, and it repeats that again. And then in the solo we have this riff. and I solo over that. So as I solo over that, on the first couple of chords, I'm thinking A mixolydian or just A major scale with a flat 7. So over the first I'll tell you what, maybe we try to loop this, and I kind of give you an idea of it, right? Let's see if I can do this. So. Right, cool. So over the first couple of chords, I'm gonna use like an A7. And now over this F to G, I'm gonna play A minor. So I'm thinking of two different things. Here's major with a flat 7 here. And now minor again. You can hear I'm still acknowledging a major third until right here. Right, major third. And then here's the minor. Okay, so that's how I'm soloing over it. It's basically cutting that chord progression into two chunks where I'm thinking A with a major third, right? Visit the new Woodshed episode if any of this is going over. You don't know what thirds are or whatever. I'll talk about that. And then when it gets to the F and then the G, I change that to a minor tonality. And then throughout it, there's passing tones everywhere, flat 5s. And then little chromatic things like that. I love those kind of little slippery isms. Yeah, so that's how I solo over that. Cool. Now I'm going to dig into the chat. Let's scoot up to where I can see the screen a little bit better and dig into the chat here. I might even take this microphone off. Let's just take that off. Okay. Good Lord, I'm knocking stuff around. All right. I'm going to dig through the chat here and hit some questions. Gosh, you guys are awesome. So many great questions, so many good things. I really appreciate your support here. We're not too far away from getting a new camera. I'm sick and tired of looking up to the iMac camera. It's dumb. Let's see what we got here. Everyone knows you need a space heater for warm tones. That's a fact. I like a space heater for warm tones. At Ben Eller, it's more like a variac type thing. It pulls so much juice from the wall that the amps don't get as much. Huh. Okay. Okay. You're playing Black Dog wrong. It sounds something like the album. Yeah, that's awesome. Ben's great. No, you're not. Is the tumness driving the BB or vice versa? There is no tumness on the board. There is a prototype on there. Let's see. How many hours a day do I practice? I don't really think about practice. I just play the guitar when I want to play the guitar. If there's things that I want to work on, I'll work on them. I treat playing the guitar like, guys treat playing, and like myself, how I treat playing video games. I just do it because I want to. And I think doing playing guitar because I want to makes me want to get better at playing the guitar. So it ends up not feeling like practice. You know what I mean? So I just play a lot. I like to play a lot. I didn't know you were a Puritan. Let's say from the guy Skankbanger is you. Anyhow, you should sue that guy. That's great. Is that what he plays through Axe 3? Yes, I have an Axe 3, but right now what you're hearing is the Bella into the my pedal board into a Bella into an Ox. Cool. Cheers to Finland. You're awesome. Thanks for stopping into the chat. Answering on the Patreon, yeah. Sneaking in from work to listen for a while. Cheers, all of you guys. All you guys. Love Diamond Rio. Man, strength in numbers, absolutely. Listen to all that stuff. Man, you guys are dying for that diesel, right? I tell you what, next live stream I'll fire up the diesel. We'll just rock. That'll be it, okay? Guitar Sanctuary, I see you. Much love. For those that don't know, Guitar Sanctuary out in McKinney, that's like family to me, man. Those guys are great. If you ever need, if you're in that neck of the woods and you need great gear, contact Brian over at Guitar Sanctuary. He'll take care of you. Okay. The Hardest Goodbye, what was the inspiration behind it, writing and sequencing? Okay, The Hardest Goodbye was, it was kind of, at the time I was, as we all do, dealing with different things. And goodbyes and the difficult thing of a goodbye is like, why do you say good on it? You're sad. This bye sucks. It's like this so long sucks. And I just used that as an inspiration for a nice melody. Again, it was the chord progression that got me first. Let's plug back up here and I'll give you a little bit of that. So yeah, the Hardest Goodbye started with this riff. And if you notice in the Sir videos, Ben plays it with a capo. He's actually playing it incorrect. I want everyone to know right now that when Ben plays my songs live with me on guitar, he plays them incorrect. He uses the capo, and that's not how I played it. So, Ben, that's inaccurate. That is not accurate. Now you're not accurate. Now you're telling people that they suck at guitar, and you're not accurate. So Ben plays this with a capo, and the way it was recorded and the way that I played is without a capo. So you notice the top triad stays the same. It's like a B-flat triad. So there it is, like a version of a G minor, right? And I'm walking the bass line down. It gets tricky here where you have to switch your fingerings for this section. So one more time. So that's actually how I played it. It's kind of a handful to do with no capo, but that's how I played it. And that's all I kept playing over and over. This was in my head for days, and it was just like an emotion thing that I was like, man, this sounds like how I feel, And a lot of times I really suck at like expressing my feelings, but I can find a sound on an instrument that like sounds like how I feel. And this was one of those moments where I really dialed in the chord progression and this little riff over and over again that like it made me feel better because I was getting it out. I was getting those emotions outside of me. So that went around and around, and then finally I just needed a melody line, and again I was so terrified of overplaying the melody, A lot of times you don't need a lot of stuff going on. You need a good melody to stay with you. So that's how Hardest Goodbye came about, and that's actually the correct fingerings. All right, digging back into the chat. I've got to get another camera. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to get another camera. I'm about to get on Amazon right now and freaking get another camera. It's killing me. So yeah, shrimping in the woodshed. Yeah, this is fun random knowledge. My video game clan is called Big Shrimpin'. Shout out to all of our clan members. We roll about 30 deep. So, if you mess with one shrimp, you mess with us all. D1 armor and light, bubble tighten. Nice. Yeah, I love that. That's Destiny talk. Okay, tips on nailing a clean legato technique. Man, we're going to talk about legato. I promise. That's just like so much to get into. I am hoping to reach out to my good buddy Tom Quayle and have him chime in for maybe an overseas version of the Woodshed where get him to talk about Legato, because a lot of the things that I do with Legato I got from Tom. And Tom, love you, dude. I hope you're well. He's one of the best dudes in the game. Love him. And let's dig on down here, and I'm just going to answer a couple more. We're kind of running over on time. Fret problems on a cert. No, it's not fret problems on the cert. Guys, it's not fret problems. This is a mahogany guitar. It's all just mahogany. And the necks, like I said, the weather's been bad. It's a lot of the reason why I prefer the roasted maple for the stability. But yeah, and two, if anybody's living in I want to give props here to all of the gear companies that I work with and to every gear company out there that I don't work with. Dave Friedman is a great friend of mine, and as you can see, I don't have any of his amps. I'm gonna buy one. I just haven't yet. But John Sir and his company, you know, I'm gonna be on a soapbox for 30 seconds, so buckle up. I'm sick and tired of seeing people put negative comments when they blow a tube or have a fret issue or, you know, or breaking a string or whatever. That's not the fault of the instrument. Like, anybody that thinks that is absolutely living under a rock. Okay, things go bad on instruments when you play them and put in the mileage. This guitar doesn't have stainless steel frets. This one right here that I'm holding does not have steel frets. These frets are going to wear down. Does that make this guitar a bad guitar? Absolutely not. Any amp back there, I mean, I've blown the EVH. I blew a bunch of stuff up in it. I don't even know what I did. I was on a gig and I blew it. Does that mean I'm going to sell it because it's a piece of crap? No. That just means I blew some stuff up in it. You replace it. It was like some resistors or whatever. You have to ask my tech. This shout out to John, the Amp Man. Jump on my social media if you ever have tech gear questions. John can give them to you. But like, yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I've blown tubes on that diesel like on tour. It's like tires on a car, frets, tubes, all of this stuff. This is like tires on a car. When you have a flat tire, you don't sell your car. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of people that will get online, whether they're talking about a Friedman amp and they blow a tube, and they're like, this is the biggest piece of junk ever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, it's not. Like, that is completely normal. Tubes are imperfect. That's what makes them awesome, right? Guys get online, they buy a Tyler or an Anderson or a Sir. They're like, oh, I can't believe I'm having to have, you know, a new nut put in. Really? You play the guitar? Like, you play the guitar? I mean, for those that don't know, if you keep up with my channel, you're always seeing me with scratchy pots. I go through about a pot or 2 pot a year. Does that mean John builds bad guitars? No, that means the pots just wear out. That's what that means. I remember talking to Nick Johnston. Nick Johnston's a good friend of mine. He's always flipping his selector. I was like, how many of those do you go through? He's like, dude, I don't even know. I mean, and does that mean Schecter Master Series guitars, Diamond Series guitars are bad? No, it means you wear them out. So let's just pause ourselves, right, when we go to bash a company because a part wore out. I look at that as one of the coolest things you'll ever do as a guitar player. If you wore out your pickup selector, awesome. You're playing the crap out of your guitar. You need new frets? Awesome. You're playing the crap out of your guitar and you need new frets. I mean, I've had guitars with stainless steel frets get a fret pressed in and it needs to be repaired. I mean, I play the instruments, right? So, like, let's all just, like, slow down a little bit when we get online. And I'm not specifically talking to anyone in my chat. I'm actually talking about guys that I see in some of these Facebook groups and guys that I see online that are just so eager to chime in on an Instagram post for something that, you know, oh, I bought, you know, a Friedman amp and I blew it too. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? That just is crazy to me. So when you have fret problems, you have tube problems, that's the nature of the instrument. That is the nature of what we do. And in my opinion, that's the cool factor, the tinkering factor, right? My Bellas have 5881s. I like those. I like those tubes. John puts 6L6s in them from the factory. My cabinets, these diesel cabinets, this one has classic lead 80s, and this one over here has 65s. That's not what came in it. It's not that any of this gear is imperfect. It's like that's the tinkering. That's the hot rod lover in me that loves to get under the hood of a car and try to make it go faster. Like I think that's the coolest thing about what we do on the gear aspect. And it's just like there's a lot of, a sourness that people have when they post about boutique level gear, right? If I went out and bought a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and I had a flat tire, it doesn't make that car suck, So again, I'm off my soapbox. We're done with that. That's a rare side of me. But man, I have to jump in there sometimes and just defend people, and it's like it's defending people from themselves. I'm not defending amp manufacturers because I don't have to. These amps are going to be around forever. EVH is going to be around as long as he wants to. But it's like sometimes you have to just let people know that you buy a $3,800 guitar or a $2,000 amp or whatever. It's like it has parts. Parts go bad. That's part of the game, So I see. I love this. Free Man in America. I saw EVH when he was blowing his Marshalls, and Daily Roth had to ad-lib a story. Exactly, And those are the same Marshalls that, wrote the history books on rock and roll, It helps keep the pots. Oh, yeah, Deox. Yeah, I use that stuff. I love it. That, man, if I didn't use it, I'd be going through them once a month. Yeah, Mike Tuttle builds a great guitar. For those that don't know, Mike Tuttle, I haven't played enough. I haven't played like 10. I've played a couple, and they're cool. That's all I can say. All it takes is a few bad comments to destroy someone's business. It's not cool at all. Man, that's true, But on the flip side, it's also good for manufacturers to have accountability. I mean, John Sir is a perfectionist. If you guys watch his stream with Pete Thorne, he is a perfectionist, and the reason that he holds, the reason I play his gear is because it's held to such a high level of attention to detail, customer quality control, right? Quality control. Like, he's not gonna let stuff go out that's not good, not perfect. I mean, they barely let him out of his R&D room because as soon as he starts going out on the factory, he just starts like sniffing, just bloodhounding, This is pretty great. John's one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. Just one of the finest. And props to Tom Anderson. Tom and Roy over at Anderson Guitars. Those guys are great. Props to Bev and Rich at PRS and Paul at PRS. Great company. PRS on my wall. I've got friends in all kinds of different circles. The guys at Orange, great. Mike Arrigo over at Ibanez, great. We live in a Renaissance era of great gear. And you see one bad apple get online and just get behind his keyboard. And 9 times out of 10, that guy can't even play anyways, which is always the funniest thing. And I'm gonna say this is to all my family out here in the chat. Like, I love you guys. You guys always chiming in. If you guys, and this is something I want to talk about. I'm not gonna do another question. I'm gonna talk about this mental health and your happiness on the instrument, your happiness with music. That's everything, right? And it doesn't take much to post a clip. And I'm sure you guys have all been there. You post a clip and somebody just starts like slagging on it and hating on it. Man, I'm gonna tell you how to make yourself feel better. Go to their page. You ever feel bad about yourself because somebody said something in your chat or posted something on your video and it's negative? Go to their page. I guarantee you they can't play. I've never seen it. Ben's never seen it. Like, all my buddies, like Travis and like all my friends, it's like we talk about it all the time. I mean, I would name names of guys that I cannot name in conversations we've had about like people slagging on them. And it's like, man, you go to the person that said something negative's page, they can't play. They don't even post content. They don't even try. So if any of you guys ever feel bad about your playing, just remember, it's not like that. It's not some dude's opinion that's just invisible behind a keyboard. You know what I mean? If you ever get someone that's firing off some really constructive criticism, that's a different thing, right? Me and Ben are great friends, and we're the most critical of each other because we hold each other to a really high standard. Travis Toy, man, he holds me to the highest standard ever. You know what I mean? And he's one of the best musicians on the planet. So people that when somebody chimes in with constructive criticism. That's completely different. I'm just trying to help you guys stay positive out there. You know, we're spending a lot of times at home right now. We're spending a lot of time on our computers and digging through our chats and our Facebook messages and maybe posting some content. Again, I want everybody. I see 127 people watching this right now. 127 people, man, get online and post a iPhone clip of you just vibing and playing, even if it's just 3 chords, man, even if you're just playing Wonderwall. Like, go to that make music at home thing with Rev. That's a cool thing, and you'll be entered in the raffle to win an amp. And let's all try to just maintain a high level of positivity towards each other and not be so eager to slag on each other and hate on each other. And if you do have some wisdom to share with someone else, remember that you're sharing something that you didn't have and somebody shared that to you. So you need to pay that forward in a very positive way, where if a guy's got some notes that are out of tune, or they're like, you know, their bends are flat or whatever, you know, just be aware that you're sharing wisdom that you once didn't have, and to pass along that wisdom. It's your job to pass along that wisdom, but be kind, you know, help someone. Don't tell someone they're doing it wrong and walk away. Be like, hey man, I can help you do this better. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about like that paying it forward thing. So, you know, and that's why I think I'm against the whole speeding up and super editing thing. Like, these guys don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't have to do that. That's an artificial comfort thing. And 9 times out of 10, these guys are fine players. You know, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen guys online, their videos are edited to death, and then I see them live and they're still a good player. But it's like you don't have to do that. You can be positive and share with each other, and I think the internet and the chat rooms and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all that stuff, that can be negative sometimes. And to put a bow on this little tangent, that goes back to what I was saying about this guitar. This guitar doesn't have a bad fret. The neck has moved because it's mahogany, and I just hadn't readjusted it. You know, I've blown tubes up. Man, I have a Kyle Rhodes amp upstairs that needs tubes. I'm not going to sell the Kyle Rhodes amp. It just needs tubes. You know, people don't need to you know, hate and fire off, you know, negative things in any direction, especially about each other's playing. You know, let's encourage each other. You know, Ben Eller doesn't have a green Ferrari chair like I do. You're right, Mark. You know, at the end of the day, I want that to be, everybody just go over to Ben's page and tell him that his chair sucks because it's not as cool as mine. Mine's a race car chair. It's green, so it's much cooler than anything that's ever been in any of Ben's videos. His chair is awful. It might be the worst chair I've ever seen in my life. The worst chair ever. With that said, you know, much love to all you guys. I can't tell you how much this means to me to have you guys on here for an hour and 20 minutes hanging out with me. This stuff's awesome. I'm going to keep doing this stuff. If you guys want me to keep doing this stuff, I'm going to keep doing it. You know, all you got to do is just chime in. Let me know. If you're tired of it, I'll go back to doing my own thing. But, like, you know, I'm trying to, again, pay it forward and share things that I've picked up from my heroes and things that I've learned. You know what I mean? So, you know, crispy high fives to each one of you. You guys, if you feel like throwing some beer money at this to keep it going, I'm going to buy a new camera, and I'm going to do that with the Patreon. So if you guys want me to up the game, not hold my microphone, have nice stuff to invest into this streaming thing, jump over to Patreon, throw some beer money at me, and you know, I'm gonna get a new camera. I'm sick to death of looking at this iMac camera. We got to up the game. I think you guys deserve better. So yeah. That's it, man. That's it for today. I appreciate you guys so much. Until maybe another time. I will say this: everybody chime in to my Rhythmed family. I'm gonna put this in the chat right now. I'm gonna double check my spelling. I've got it on my trusty handy dandy telephone here. What we've got is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. With Rhythmed TV, I'm going to put this in the chat. They spell it like that. I'm going to say live tomorrow, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Boom. Rhythm TV live Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Boom. That's what's up. That's where we're going to be tomorrow night. We got 127 people on right now. Y'all jump over right now to Rhythm TV. Go over there right now. I'm doing a free concert. I'm going to play for like 30, 45 minutes. I'm just going to play some songs, and we're going to hang out. I'm not going to do any talking. I'm not going to get any on soapboxes about social media. I'm not going to talk about the Kardashianifications of the world. There's not going to be any of that, okay? We're just going to play. We're just going to play some tunes. So Rhythms TV, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. I want to see all you guys there. I appreciate you all so freaking much, and it just makes me happy to feel like we can connect and have a little community here for us. So much love to all y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7 on Rhythm TV.